Is the union president certified?
Oh, absolutely.
Do they have any other members of the department that are certified?
No, I think,
No, no.
we've got to change the
We've
leadership.
had a change in leadership, he's not a paramedic. Union president is not a paramedic. So that's my point.
When did you have a change in leadership? When was-
Last week.
Oh, last week? Okay.
That's correct.
Who's your new president? We were notified? Who's
You
your,
will be.
huh?
You will be.
Oh.
It just happened.
What's that?
It just happened, so.
Yes.
Couple of questions. Back on September 1st, we had a negotiation guide which was part of which folks took no action on. And I guess I'm just wondering, we were trying to mirror the possible formation of this committee after the fire management committee as far as who the players were. And I just wonder why you chose the people you chose this time, and why didn't we just handle this in negotiations because we were trying?
I don't know if you want me to.
I was expecting to respond, but I mean,
Well, first of all, as far as negotiations, I mean, you put your last and final offer, correct, the last and final offer forward?
Yes.
I believe the administration did also. Correct?
When we get back, there's no action was taken on that, so we came to a vote.
Again, the town administrator is the chief negotiator, and handle that. But again, this is an aside. It is strictly within the prerogative of the board to form any advisory committee that we feel as though we need. This is one we feel that it's needed. It needs to be looked at in short order. We've been unable to come to any conclusion as far as the negotiations with the firefighters union up to this point. And from my vantage point, as one member of the board,
So why we seem to be sort of sidestepping that process now?
but this is, again, the
I
board
don't-
forming an advisory
yeah.
committee is nothing that has to be negotiated with the union.
Yeah, and I for one,
Well,
have,
it's part of negotiation.
no, I for one have never viewed this as part of any contractual negotiation. I've always viewed it
Well,
as a,
it wasn't, yes, part of negotiation.
no,
that's not my,
the collective bargaining part of it takes place if we want to make a change.
The formation of the committee was part of negotiation.
I disagree.
I have an email dated March 24th, '09, Mr. O'Leary, consisting of a side letter about the very same subject and suggestion of representatives and so forth. It became a subject of negotiations at that point. And we just responded. That's all we're doing.
I respectfully disagree that that email and the correspondence to you was after a handshake on an agreement that was to be brought back to your membership, which has yet to vote on it. But again, that's
There we go.
so that we have a very strong difference of opinion, which again, as far as I'm concerned as a member of this board, I am not about to abdicate the responsibility of this board and the right of this board to form any type of advisory committee, investigatory committee, or whatever type of committee we choose to. And I'm not about to abdicate that through the collective bargaining process or any other process, because it just hampers the administration and the board's ability to get stuff done.
Go ahead,
Um,
after.
Question one, a comment, January 15th, with the holidays coming up and folks dealing with next year's budget, that's going to get all ordered to try and achieve. Push it out a little further, it's a big operational change, and a lot of the work, I think, will have to be done in discussions amongst the firefighters and the union. The other comment I wanted to make is locking us in as
I like the short window of 90 days because I think that will get this committee running and get us to a point. We may not be at an end result come January 15th, but I would like to have some sort of preliminary report back to this board by that time frame as to where it stands, where's the committee stand, where do they think they need to go, what other information they need at that point. Sounds like the chief has done a bulk of the work already, so that's a good head start. So I like to keep it on a short window so we move it forward. In terms of not having the president of the union, I'm not so much opposed to not having the president of the union, especially if they've had an ALS committee and they're going to choose 2 members from that committee. It seems to make sense that they're allowed to choose 2 members from the ALS committee, probably the 2 of the most knowledgeable people probably in the department regarding ALS. So I'm not adverse to making that change, but I want to keep it on a short window.
Mr. Vino?
Yeah, I'd just like to comment quick. I do think the firefighters should be able to pick whatever 2 representatives they want, whether they're on the ALS committee or not. I think they should be able to pick that, because they're not telling us from the board who will be on it, so I think the firefighters should be allowed that.
You got a comment?
I was just going to say that I'm a strong supporter of the firemen, or the firemen, that this year I've used them on 2 occasions. One was a chimney fire, and another one as I had a serious accident and was transported to the hospital by the ambulance. And my feeling is that I'm not sure that the president of the firefighters, the person that is in charge of the fire chief, is not a member of, is he a member of the union? The chief of
The chief is
No.
not a
No.
member. The chief is part of the administration, the town administration. He's a department head.
And you're not asking the chief to be on the board, are
The
you?
chief is on.
Chief is.
Yes.
The chief is going to be on.
Well, then, if he is not a member of the union, I think he should.
Should be what, a member of the union or on the board? Should be what?
He should be on this committee.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
It
he
is.
is. He is.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah, I have a question, Steve. I think that your suggestion of having the president of the union on gets to the next stage of this, where in a collective bargaining issue, then that individual is certainly up to speed on what went on. So I guess I would pose the question is, would there be a member of the bargaining committee, your union bargaining committee as part of this? See, that would make sense. I think that's what the objective you were trying to achieve, was that there'd be somebody that was involved in the process, right, at the
Well,
bargaining table later on.
Well, again, I look upon, I know how my union president is, and I've been involved with a lot of other unions over the years. Generally, my union president, or a union president, is fairly representative of the majority of the membership. And if we want to, I mean, we relegate the liaisonship or the membership of this, again, I was appointed by the chair. I mean, if you want to, again, I want the president of the union to have a vested interest and have a say in this thing, so that, I mean, if we want to say that the 2 members of the fire department to be named by the president of the union, I don't have any objection to that. In other words, I want some ownership, I want some responsibility by the leadership of the union.
I don't think we can have a problem with that.
So that, then I would amend my proposal here, and I haven't made a formal motion yet, but that it would be then 2 members of the North Reading Fire Department union to be, as a delegated or appointed by the president of the union.
Is that a fair
That okay?
compromise? Okay.
Is that fine?
Steve, I would make one more suggestion.
Okay.
That I would change the date to the end of January because of the holiday session that we got coming in here. It really doesn't give you a full 90 days. I mean, it doesn't give you 90 days of calendar days, but,
Again,
I mean, to be fair.
again, I think the short window, there's nothing that precludes the advisory committee from coming to the board and saying we need more time. I still think we need to keep our feet to the fire. I think we need to keep this on the front burner. I think it needs to be addressed. And, you know, it's the 15th or the 30th is another 15 days, but if we have to come in here on the 15th, if this advisory committee has to come in before this board on the 15th and say, we need more time, we're gonna ask for no more time, or we'll have a report, you know. Our committee will have a report. So, you know.
So, any other discussion at this point before you make the motion? Mr. O'Leary.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the board appoint an ALS advisory committee to report back to the Board of Selectmen by the 15th, January 15th, 2009.
10.
10, excuse me, 10, right, 10, geez, all right, 10, 10.
We're late.
We're late. That's true, we are late. The committee should be comprised of the town administrator, the fire chief, 2 selectmen appointed by the chairman, 1 finance committee person appointed by the chair of the finance committee, 2 members of the firefighters union appointed by the president of the firefighters union, for a total composition of 7 members.
Do you want one of those members to be part of the bargaining unit?
I'll leave it up to the president of the union. I would hope that they would, again, we want them to be an integral part here, and I think if it's going to be of any benefit, then that's up to them to determine.
Okay, there's a motion by Mr. O'Leary. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Delaney. All in favor?
Discussion,
Oh,
please.
I'm sorry.
Thank
I
you,
thought we
Mr.
were
Chair.
through discussing.
Yeah, no, I'll be abstaining from the vote. Basically, because of the reasons I stated earlier. I just think there's more, there's more gonna happen here than the firefighters realize. So I'll be abstaining from the vote.
Just as a form of discussion, under discussion, and I don't know necessarily where Joe's concerns are coming from, but let me state unequivocally and publicly, it is not my desire to have the North Reading ambulance service to be provided by anybody other than the North Reading Fire Department. That is my preference. That is what I would like to see continue. They do an excellent job. They have been serving the community for years, and they do a terrific job for the community. Nothing but praise and accolades go towards them. Yes, but so that I want to state unequivocally, there is no ulterior motive here other than to find out what the most cost-effective way of providing ambulance service, a higher level of ambulance service within the North Reading Fire Department. And hopefully that's what this advisory committee will tell us. So no other ulterior motives.
If I may, Mr. Chair.
Mhm.
I do agree with your comments, Mr. O'Leary, on their ability and expertise. But I also remember your comment when you said we cannot afford to do business the way we're doing it.
We can't.
So then all I can see is that service going away from the firefighters, and I'm not gonna be a part of that.
I can't believe that you would save money doing that, but
Yeah, well, you may save money, but I still
I
can't be a
said
part of it.
I said I can't believe that you would save money doing that. Anyway.
But again, we won't know until the advisory committee does some due diligence and looks into the cost of providing
No,
services.
this is an
in the
advisory
different
committee. The
venues.
next
I
step would be,
understand. I
what,
understand.
if any, of
What other
recommendations
alternatives? And
would
again,
be
the recommendation
adopted.
might be status quo, recommendation might be go to ALS, recommendation might be to go try and get some bids and see what's out there.
And the board may say we cannot afford it, we're gonna sublet it.
But if we don't do the investigation, the due
I-
diligence, we don't know what we should be doing
I
for this community as a
I
whole.
understand that,
And
but
I-
I also know what's going on,
But
so I can't.
I
no,
agree with
just
Steve.
can't
My
be part of it.
preference is to bring ALS into the North Reading Fire Department.
I agree with that.
That's the preference, Joe.
That's the
I-
preference, but
By forming this